We are living at a truly unique moment in human history, and if you look around, you will see that almost everyone seems to be obsessed with the idea of being happy. It is everywhere. It is on social media, it is in the books we read, and it is in the way we talk to each other. It feels as if there is this collective pressure to find a shortcut to joy, to achieve a state of permanent bliss as quickly as possible. But I want to tell you right from the start that happiness is not a quick fix. It is not something you can buy or a place you can just arrive at by taking a few easy steps. Real happiness depends on something much deeper, and that is the meaning that each of us gives to our own life. Think about the society we live in today. We have lost our way in many ways. We have lost that core sense of meaning, and in its place, we have tried to substitute sensations. We look for happiness in a massage, in a good meal, in a glass of alcohol, or by scrolling through our social networks for hours. Now, I am not saying these things are inherently bad. A good meal is a wonderful thing, and social media can keep us connected. But the danger arises when these sensations become a replacement for the true meaning of life. When we rely on these fleeting hits of pleasure to fill a void where purpose should be, we enter a cycle that can be quite self-destructive. There is actually a lot of fascinating research being done right now on this concept of the sense of life. You might have heard the Japanese term for it, which is ikigai. It is a beautiful word that refers to your reason for getting out of bed in the morning. What the science is showing us today is that when a person has a clear ikigai, when they feel their life has a specific direction and meaning, their physical and psychological health improves dramatically. We see concrete improvements in cardiovascular markers and heart health. But more than that, their overall sense of happiness improves because they aren't just chasing sensations, they are living with purpose. I want to acknowledge something important. Every single person listening to me right now is fighting a battle. You are fighting one, and I am fighting one too. No one escapes this. We are all constantly suffering or worrying about something. It might be an economic problem, a health issue, a struggle within your family, or a professional challenge that keeps you up at night. These battles leave marks on us. But here is the key. How we deal with those battles is what actually defines our happiness. Happiness isn't the absence of struggle. It is the ability to connect with the good things that happen every day while knowing how to manage the bad things in the best way possible. There is a subtle but important difference between happiness and fulfillment. Fulfillment is that state where you feel your basic needs are covered and you aren't constantly reaching for more. Because of this, it is actually possible to be going through a period of great suffering but still be happy in that moment. That sounds like a contradiction, doesn't it? But it's true. If you know how to connect with the tiny, beautiful things that arise in your daily life, a kind word, a sunset, a moment of quiet, you can maintain a sense of happiness even when things are hard. I have spent a lot of time thinking about what the antidote for suffering is, and I keep coming back to one thing: love. Love is the ultimate antidote for pain and suffering. It is the feeling of being loved and knowing that you are not alone in this world. One of the most terrible sensations for the human psyche and the heart is involuntary loneliness, that feeling of being alone when you didn't choose to be. That is why having vitamin people in your life is so vital. A vitamin person is someone who supports you, someone who listens to you without judging, and someone who understands you. You might not see them for a year, but when you do, everything is simple and you automatically feel better. We all long for that kind of simplicity in our human relationships. When we talk about love, we have to look at it from a few different angles. The first is love for yourself, which we call self-esteem. It is about loving yourself in a healthy way. You don't want to love yourself too much and fall into narcissism, but you also don't want to love yourself too little and fall into those destructive patterns of insecurity. This is all driven by your inner voice. We all have that voice in our heads that determines how we treat ourselves and what our self-esteem looks like every single day. Then there is romantic love. This kind of love makes us brave. Plato said a long time ago that no one is so cowardly that love does not transform them into someone brave. We've all seen it happen. Someone falls in love, and suddenly they are taking risks they never would have taken before. They feel invincible. This isn't just a feeling, it actually has a physical impact. When you feel loved in a romantic way, that sense of confidence can actually improve your immune system. Your physical and psychological health gets a measurable boost. The third type is love for others. Things like cooperation, solidarity, and the love you have for your parents, your friends, and even your coworkers. When you are in harmony with the people around you, you are able to mitigate the effects of stress. Imagine you are worried about money. If you feel alone, that stress is crushing. But if you feel loved and supported by your circle, the physical impact of that stress is much lower. We also have love for beliefs and ideals. When you believe in something bigger than yourself and you love those beliefs, it gives you a kind of fortitude that is hard to break. It helps you overcome almost any obstacle because you have a why that carries you through. Finally, there is the love for memories. This is one of my favorite topics to talk about because it feels almost magical. A few years ago, a Nobel Prize winner in medicine named Susumu Tonegawa discovered something incredible. He found that when you remember something with great intensity, the memory of that pleasant image activates the same biochemical mechanisms in your brain as when the event actually happened in reality. Think about that for a second. If you are feeling distressed or anxious, and you can bring to your mind a pleasant image, a memory of a person you loved, a time you felt grateful, it produces real biochemical effects in your body. This love helps us become more empathetic, less judgmental, and more affectionate. I learned a lot about this from my father. He has this amazing habit where he keeps a phone book with everyone's number, but next to the names, he writes little notes. He'll write his father has arthritis or his son failed a class. When he calls someone, he always asks about those specific details. He looks for that common point of connection. In our fast-paced world, we often forget to pay attention to the worries of others. But doing so is a form of love that acts as a powerful antidote to bad moments. Now, I want to get into the science of how your thoughts and emotions actually change your body. This is a topic I am deeply passionate about. I grew up in a family of psychiatrists and psychologists, but even with all that around me, I felt like the emotional connection to physical illness was often missing in my medical studies. We all know that if you're nervous, your heart beats faster or your stomach gets upset. But I wanted to find the exact spot where the mind and body join. Imagine we are sitting here and a fire alarm goes off. Someone yells fire. Automatically, your heart starts racing. Your brain, specifically the hypothalamus, has sent a signal to your adrenal glands to release two hormones, adrenaline and cortisol. Your body is moving into survival mode, fight or flight. Your heart beats faster to get blood to your tissues. You start breathing faster to get more oxygen, and your body mobilizes glucose and fats for energy. In this state, you can't reason very well. The prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain that thinks and reflects, basically shuts down. Even your memory starts to fail because the hippocampus is very sensitive to cortisol. It takes several hours for those cortisol levels to return to normal after a big spike like that. Here is the most important thing I can tell you today. Your mind and your body do not know the difference between a real threat and an imaginary one. If a tiger is chasing you, your cortisol spikes. But if you are sitting at home and you start worrying, what if I lose my job? Or what if something happens to my child? Your brain reacts in almost the exact same way. Here is a concrete number for you. 91.4% of the things we worry about never actually happen. Think about that. Nearly 92% of your stress is caused by things that will never occur. But because your body treats these thoughts as real, you end up in a state of constant alert. I call this cortisol intoxication. When you are intoxicated with cortisol, your body starts to break down in three ways. Physically, you might notice your hair falling out. Why? Because when you are at war, your body doesn't think hair is a priority, so it stops sending resources to the follicles. You get wrinkles and skin spots because cortisol inhibits skin recovery. You feel pressure in your chest, your muscles get tense and sore, and you might develop gastrointestinal issues. This is where the second brain comes in. Your gut is surrounded by a massive network of neurons. What you think and feel impacts your digestion immediately. Under sustained stress, your microbiota, the balance of good and bad bacteria in your gut, gets thrown off. The lining of your intestine can even become more permeable, allowing toxins to enter your bloodstream that shouldn't be there. If you want to know if you are inflamed, look at your gums. If they bleed when you brush, or if your belly is always bloated after you eat, your body is telling you that you are in a state of inflammation. Psychologically, cortisol intoxication makes you irritable. You snap at people for no reason. You stop sleeping well because you are in a permanent state of alert. Even if you do sleep, you wake up feeling exhausted because you never reached the deep, restorative stages of sleep. And perhaps most importantly, many cases of depression actually start as permanent states of alert. When your brain has been fighting a battle for too long, it eventually becomes dimmed and apathetic. Understanding this is the first step toward relief. To understand is to alleviate. So, how do we manage this in a world that is so fast and stressful? The first step is self-awareness. You have to ask yourself, who am I? Am I shy, sensitive, impulsive, or a perfectionist? How do I change when I am stressed? For example, a sensitive person becomes very vulnerable under stress, crying 1 minute and distressed the next. A shy person might completely shut down and block everyone out. A perfectionist becomes eternally dissatisfied because nothing is ever good enough. When you understand your stress personality, it becomes much easier to manage. The second step is living an anti-inflammatory life. We need to be careful with what we eat without becoming obsessed. We need to prioritize sleep because that is when our brain and immune system repair themselves. We need to watch out for screens before bed because that blue light inhibits melatonin, the hormone we need to sleep. We also need healthy escape routes. Exercise is one of the best ways to literally evaporate cortisol from your system. We need to train our inner voice to be a support system rather than an enemy. And we need to be mindful of the people we surround ourselves with. Are they vitamin people, or do they put you in a state of alert? Our brains are not designed to be in the sympathetic nervous system, the alert mode, all the time. We need to consciously move into the parasympathetic mode through meditation, breathing, and connection with others. This is how we recover our minds and our bodies. I want to talk a little bit about how the brain works, because I think people feel a lot of relief when they realize there is a neuroscientific explanation for why they feel the way they do. Take the amygdala hijack, for instance. This is when you have a massive, disproportionate emotional reaction to something small. It happens because your amygdala, the emotional center, takes over before your thinking brain can catch up. This often happens in parenting or in relationships where a past memory that wasn't properly archived in the hippocampus gets triggered. Being aware that this is a physical process in your brain can help you short-circuit that explosive loop. The way we interpret life depends on three main things. First is our belief system. We all have fixed ideas about how the world should work and how we should be treated. Sometimes these beliefs are limiting. I've seen parents who stop speaking to their children because the child wants to be an artist instead of an engineer. They are hitting a wall because their belief system won't allow for anything else. To enjoy life, we often have to break or expand these belief systems. Second is our state of mind. If you are happy, you interpret the world through a much kinder lens. I remember when Spain won the World Cup. The next day, everyone was honking their horns and greeting strangers. The reality of the world hadn't changed, but everyone's state of mind had. Third is the reticular activating system, or RAS. This is a tiny area in your brainstem that acts as a filter. Your brain receives way too much information to process everything, so the RAS only lets in what you are interested in. If you are looking for a job in a certain field, you'll suddenly start seeing opportunities everywhere. This is why luck favors the prepared mind. If you prepare and study, your RAS will help you perceive opportunities that others miss. But if your RAS is set to negative, you will only see the bad things. The biggest inhibitor of the RAS today is the screen. Screens give us instant hits of dopamine, fake life, digital life. It's like a drug. It makes us emotionally dependent on vibrant experiences, but in the long run, it leaves us feeling empty. This constant stimulation slows down the development of the prefrontal cortex, which is the part of the brain responsible for attention, concentration, and impulse control. The prefrontal cortex is immature when we are born. Babies are stimulated by light, sound, and movement. As we grow, we want to learn to pay attention to immobile objects, like a book or a teacher. But if we give a child a screen too early, we are training their brain to only respond to intense external stimulation. The brain follows the rule of use it or lose it. If we use GPS for everything, our internal sense of orientation weakens. If we use Wikipedia for every fact, our memory storage gets lazy. We are currently facing a crisis of attention. We are hyperstimulated and we don't know how to handle boredom anymore. But boredom is the cradle of creativity. to strengthen your willpower and your prefrontal cortex. You have to practice postponing reward. Instead of getting everything you want right now, set small challenges for yourself. Tell yourself you'll only watch one episode of a show, or that you won't check Instagram for an hour. This is how you educate your brain to go deeper into life rather than just skimming the surface. To improve your concentration, I recommend a few things. First, focus on the positive. Make a conscious decision to find 3 good things about your day and talk about them. Second, learn to savor things through your senses. When you eat, really taste the food. When you are outside, stop and listen to the sounds, the birds, the traffic, the wind. This strengthens your ability to pay attention to the present moment. I also strongly recommend reading on paper. We process information differently when we read a physical book compared to a screen. We go deeper, and we need to stop the myth of multitasking. Multitasking is actually just your brain rapidly switching focus, which lowers your efficiency and makes your work more superficial. Whatever you do, do it with all your attention. If you are with someone, give them all your senses. In my clinic, I don't use a computer. I write on paper because I want the person in front of me to know that they are the only thing that matters in that moment. When you go home to your children or your partner, put the phone away. Children often feel that the phone is more important than they are. When you walk through the door with a phone in your hand, you have already created a barrier to connection. Wait until you have finished your digital tasks before you enter your home, so you can be fully present with your hands open to hug the people you love. Finally, let's talk about the best version of yourself. It's a mathematical equation that I find very helpful. Your best version is knowledge plus life project plus will x passion. Knowledge is what you study and learn. Your life project is your goals and where you are headed. Will is your prefrontal cortex, your order, your constancy, and your ability to postpone reward. Those 3 things add up. But passion is what multiplies everything. Passion is putting your heart into what you do. The world is full of people who have lost their passion, but any job, whether you are a doctor, a parent, or a student, can be transformed if you put your heart into it. To bring out your best version, you have to stop occasionally. You have to step out of the alert mode and ask yourself the big questions. What is my meaning? What is my ikigai? When you align your knowledge, your goals, and your willpower with a deep passion for life, you reach a balance that allows you to manage the bad and truly connect with the good. It is a journey, but it is the most important one you will ever take. Before you go, take a moment. Thank yourself for being here, for listening, for showing up today. You don't have to have everything figured out. Just keep taking small steps. I'll see you in the next story.